Radio 930 WBEN. To reach Esther now, call 803-0930. Toll free at 1-800-616-9236. And cell calls are free at star 930. And now, live from the WBEN studios, it's Esther Gulia.
Hey, everybody, this is the Tax Lady. And we are on the leeward ending of tax season. If you're somebody, I was just at dinner the other day, and the manager of the restaurant came up and said, "Oh gosh, when I see you, it reminds me I didn't do my tax return yet." So there's no time like the present. Why don't you file early and file Monday or Tuesday? Because a week from Tuesday, the game is up. And we want to make sure, we're from EG Tax, we want to make sure that you don't overpay your taxes. We want to make sure that if you're getting love letters, that you know what to do with them. If you're somebody with Obamacare and they're sending letters out, we're getting a lot of those. By the way, this is Chris Fabian. Hey, Chris.
Hello, Esther.
So if you're somebody that had the 1095A form, most of you will be getting letters, and if you don't know what to do with that, that's something EG Tax will help you with. If you have full coverage, if you're in a 1095B or C, usually they don't write you because you have full coverage. But it's when you have the Obamacare, you're looking for an exclusion. Many of you that have penalties that you've been paying, you probably didn't need to pay them at all. And the other interesting thing, as I've seen, is many people that don't have insurance could have gotten it for free. Have you seen that?
Yep. Oh, definitely. The free Medicaid. Or now, for this year, too, it's the Essential Plan, which is $20 a month, which I've seen people get, they got phone, hey, guess what? Your premiums just went down $200 a month,
right.
And they can't believe it.
Right.
But it is a bare minimum plan, the Essential Plan, but it's still healthy, better than the penalty.
Yep. So that's another thing that we help people with. The whole thing is we have 8 days until the 18th. That's the drop dead date for you to file your return. And we wanted to talk about some of the things that people kind of shoot themselves in the foot with today on the show. But if you have questions, if something is on your mind relative to taxes or tax planning, give us a call here in studio, 803-0930. 803-0930, star 930 on a cell phone. And our toll-free number, whether you're calling from Canada, because maybe you're somebody that should have been filing an F-bar and you need help with that, or from Arizona or Florida, our toll-free number is 800-616-9230. That's 616-9230. Okay, first of all, let's talk about extensions. I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but people think they can file an extension, and that's okay because that gets rid of the whole problem. If you owe $5,000, it gets rid of the liability until October 15th. Correct?
Wrong. It does not get rid of the liability. It gets rid of the paperwork till October 15th, but if you think you owe $4,000, you have to pay the $4,000.
Otherwise, the extension does you no good.
Right.
Because the extension merely extends the time to get that backup paperwork in. They want the money on the 18th.
Right.
And if you don't have the money, they will accept a payment program, but then you have to understand there will be penalties and interest on top of that liability. The penalty that you can avoid is the failure to file penalty, right?
Right, and that's the huge one.
Right.
That's a 5% up to 25% for the first 5 months.
Right, and I said to somebody, you think about it, you owe $2,000. A 25% penalty is $500. Right? And waiting till October is guaranteed that it'll be at the 25% level. So, but if you are going to pay your liability and you just don't have, because you don't have, maybe you're waiting for a K-1 and you're going to pay your extension, it's a Form 4868 on the federal and an IT 370 on New York State. You put your money in with it, and then you're good to go till October the 15th.
Right, but you don't have to wait till October 15th.
True.
But people still do.
They still do, right?
Yep.
And now all of our offices are open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, 9 to 9, Monday through Saturday next week, because the 18th is the deadline. And do yourself a favor, Sunday, sit down and get your stuff together. Promise that you will.
Open it up, make sure everything's right, everything's in
Right.
order.
8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone, and we're going to go to Mr. Bill in Rochester. Hey, Mr. Bill, how can we help you?
Hi, how are you? I got a couple questions. First, do you still have an office in Rochester?
Nope, we didn't. We closed up our Rochester office a couple years ago. So,
But we do
you
have one in Batavia.
We do have one in Batavia, and if you're somebody that wants to do it online, you can just send it on to us, and we'll make sure we get it done for you.
Now,
We
I got a
are
question
anticipating opening up next year. Pardon me,
I have
sir?
a question about the required
Minimum
minimum
distribution.
distribution.
Uh-huh.
Next year, January of 2017, I turned 70,
Okay.
and it's the following year after you turn 70 and a half.
It's the year you turn 70 and a half that you have
year
to do.
I turned 70
There's
and a
there's
half.
an option. In the year you turn 70 and a half, they expect the RMD. However, they will give you an option to delay until the next tax season, up till April the 1st, to take the first portion of an RMD. If before December 31st, you take a second payment for the RMD. So you'd have a double hitter on 17.
What's the formula? Is it? I heard 27.
It's 27.4.
4. You divide by
27.
27.4 the first year.
Yeah.
And do you have to refigure this every year
Every
after
year.
that, or just the same amount every year?
No,
No.
When
you
you first
refigure.
figure it.
You refigure. It's all based upon your life expectancy. So based upon the value as of December the 31st and your age, they will recompute your required minimum distribution
So you have to redo it every year.
every year.
Okay.
Yep. Where your pension or your IRA is, they do send out a 5498, and they'll tell you what your minimum distribution is supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
So that's what that form's all about.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Bill.
All right.
Good luck. Bye-bye. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax. Now, I will tell you, if you're somebody that missed your RMD, there is an application that you can fill out on the tax return asking to have that penalty waived.
Yep,
right?
right on the 5329.
Right. So on the 5329, you put on there that I'm asking to have the penalty waived, and you put down the reason why you need it waived. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody get one if they fill that form out. Have you?
No, I've not seen them come back and say.
So that you use the 5329, the bottom portion of it, and you can make sort of a plea to have the penalty waived if you haven't done the RMD that first year. Obviously, if you're a repeat offender, they might be after you. But I most of my clients that haven't done it, they thought the bank had done it.
Medical reasons, something.
Right. I'm Esther Golias, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone, and we're going to go to Mr. George. Hey, George, how can we help you? George.
What was the name?
Aren't you George?
Yes, I have a question about gambling winnings.
Yes, sir.
If you would explain, if someone had losses of 20,000, winnings of 15,000.
Uh-huh.
I understand that was possible to be wiped. The games would be wiped out. Could you explain that?
Sure. All right, George.
And also, how you mentioned a payment agreement with the IRS. If
Right.
you would explain that, please.
All right, good enough, George. Did you want to
Thanks.
hang up and I'll answer it on the air, or you want to wait?
I'll hang up.
All right, thanks, George. Okay, so let's do the gambling first. If you have gambling income, the gambling, it's taken in two separate things, like your right hand and your left hand. On your left hand, you're going to put on line 21 the gambling income.
Right.
What goes on your right hand?
Your gambling losses according to on the Schedule A.
Right, and so if you're an itemizer, then you would take your gambling losses up to your income that you took. In this case, George said 15,000.
Right.
So he had 20 in losses, but you can only take 15 as a miscellaneous itemized deduction, not subject to 2%. So he'll get the whole 15,000 as an itemized deduction. But here's the rub, so to speak. If you're a senior married filing a joint return, your standard deduction may be 15,000, and in essence, you'll get no benefit at all for the
But-
itemized deduction.
Right. And also, he may end up now paying tax on Social Security as well. So it's a double snub, as to say. So, yeah, the losses go on a Schedule A, and it's not a guaranteed, even though it looks like a dollar for dollar, but it's not going to save you a dollar for dollar.
Yeah, so you have to understand your standard deduction might be $15,000. They're going to allow it to you anyway if you and your wife are over the age of 65. Okay, so that's going to be your standard deduction. If you don't own a home, you have no other itemized deductions, and all you're going to do is reduce your the only expense you have is your $15,000 in gambling losses. In essence, you're going to get no benefit for losing money.
Right.
Right. All right. The other question he had
on
was
installments.
How to make an installment.
How to make a payment plan.
You can call them up and say, "Hi, this is George. I owe you money. I'd like to. You have to pay it back within a 5-year period of time, which I would not recommend because the penalties and interest are accruing. You'd make it as short as possible. If you have a liability and you can pay the liability, pay it.
Yep.
Because really, Guido the loan shark does you a better job than the Internal Revenue Service. So you want to make sure you pay it. But if you totally cannot, they will set up a payment program. You can wait till they send you the bill. There's a phone number there to call. If you're filing electronically, there's an application you can make electronically to have a payment program set up. But they will, if it's not a horrendous liability, set up a payment program for you. It's fairly easy. They'll take it right out of your checking account then every month.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Pretty easy. I'm Esther Gullius, the tax lady from EG Tax. We're going to take a short break. 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. We want to help you. We'll talk to you in a minute. Bye-bye. All right, who is it?
The new bones over the buried bones.
All right, what is it?
It is Handsome Jack.
Handsome Jack. That's Tyler Samer, whose teacher, I think, is my client.
Yeah, my 4th grade teacher. It's just not ringing a bell. I just can't pick the name out of my head.
She really is a lovely lady, and I would say her name over the radio, but that wouldn't be fair. But she said you were quite a lad.
Well, if she tolerated me for a whole year, then props to her.
You were quite a lad. Anyway, I'm Esther Gullius, the tax lady from EG Tax, and let's face it, kids, there's only 8 days left. Now, if you've already filed and stuff didn't happen the right way, like, for instance, I had a client yesterday who her son went and did his own return. And he's 17. He's 17, filed and claimed himself. She lost the personal exemption, or maybe, he's 18 and claimed himself, and he's in college. So she lost the personal exemption. He made $2,400. So what we're doing is amending the child's return.
Yep.
It makes no difference to him at all, okay? But it means to her about a $3,500 difference with
Yep.
the personal exemptions and the education credits. So here's the thing. If you know that it didn't work out this year because your child beat you to the computer, amend those returns and get the money back. To me, that's a lot of money. I mean, $200 is a lot of money, but
Yep.
$3,000?
Yep.
None of you would let somebody steal $3,000 from you. And it really doesn't make any, it's not a difficult thing to do to amend those returns.
No,
so
not at all.
If your kid claimed themselves, fix the returns.
Right.
And I would suggest before April the 18th. Also, if you have worked and you have money in the bank and you would like to increase your refund, you can open an IRA before April the 18th. I
Right.
just did it this morning with a couple, and they got, with their state and federal, about a 35% bang on their buck for opening up a traditional IRA. So,
Right. And going back to your other point, if you didn't claim your child's education because they paid for it,
right.
take the college credit.
Anyways. Because it isn't that who paid for it. It's if it's your dependent, you get
Yep.
to take it.
Yep.
Even if it was a student loan. The only thing that doesn't qualify would be if it's a scholarship
Correct.
or a grant.
Yep.
Right? I'm Esther Gullius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. And we're talking taxes, we're talking 8 days, and we're talking to Mr. Jim in West Seneca. Hi, Jim. How can we help you?
Hi, Esther. Yes, I have a question for you. I'm
Yeah.
doing my 2015 taxes now, but
Okay.
in doing so, I came across a 2014 1099-R, and my tax advisor or financial planner told me to drop this insurance policy and buy a different insurance policy.
All right. What code is in box 7?
Okay, box 7 is a 6.
All right. So that means it's a rollover. So it
Oh,
went from
that's
one
what
insurance
yes.
company to another.
Correct.
Now, I think you should, to avoid a letter, because you'll probably get a letter this summer, I would think, is when those will cycle through. I would do an amended return, just put on there on line 15A the amount, and on line 15B 0, so that they know that it was rolled over. It is a tax-free event.
Okay, that's what I was hoping for, because, I didn't see any of the money. It just went from one insurance policy
Right.
to another.
Right. So if
So-
you don't mind getting the letter in the summer, wait. They could do that. Send you the bill. Then what you have to do is prove that it got directly rolled over, and you just have to do a little legwork. But you're not going to have to pay taxes.
Oh, okay, that's the key thing. And as far as amending the return, though, I could go online and find the amended
Yeah.
form.
1040X.
But all I have to do is I don't have to resubmit everything, just the section that changed or just the forms that changed.
Right. Just do the 1040X and the 1040.
You
can-
have to attach the 1040.
Yep.
1040. Okay.
Yeah. So the whole thing gets all sent back all together.
But you don't need an A or a D or a
Right,
C.
right. So then, and under the explanation section, say that left off rollover distribution 1099-R in error, and it wouldn't even hurt to enclose that with the 6 on it, so they can see that you're absolutely out of the woods.
Okay, then thank you. So it's a 1040 and a 1040X. Then,
That's
right?
it.
Okay, thank you very
Jim.
much.
Bye-bye. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on his cell phone. Last week we were talking with Tiffany. We were talking about the 10-year debt forgiveness if you're working for a not-for-profit.
Right.
And we've had quite a few people that called this week really inquiring about that. So that's another thing that EG Tax helps me with. During the summer, the off-season, people say to me, what do you do? Well, we do a lot of tax returns, right?
That's right.
And we help people with letters.
Letters.
And people will be getting letters, I guarantee you. And
Planning.
and tax planning and budgeting. So all of those things we help people with as well.
Right. I just had someone today, they want to move to North Carolina when they retire. And I said, well, your state pension is now going to be taxed. What do you
That's
mean?
right.
So they're going to come in during the summer, and we're going to play with a couple states to see what's favorable, what's not for
Yep.
them to move to,
Right.
or just to become a snowbird.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, a lot of people think New York State is such a terrible place, but not for seniors, because
No.
the first $20,000 in pension that you get if you're not working for a municipal, state, or federal
Government.
where you would have gotten those pensions, the first $20,000 would be tax free for you if you're over the age of 59 and a half. If you worked for a municipality, state, federal, or local, then all of your pension is tax free.
Right.
So, and then with the STAR programs, and all right. And the other thing I wanted to bring up with us being 8 days before the end are credits, important credits that you don't want to miss. The first thing is the additional child tax credit. How do you get that, Chris?
Well, that's when you have more than $3,000 in wages and you have children, or earned income, wages or self-employment, I should say, and you have one child or more, you're entitled to an additional child tax credit when your child tax credit up top isn't used all the way. Can give you portion to the rest of it all back.
So if I made $12,000 and I had 3 kids, I would have no tax liability.
Right.
And so therefore my $3,000 in child tax
A
credit
portion, you would probably get about $1,500 to $1,800.
Right, and that would be I would get a refundable portion of the child tax credit. So you don't want to miss out on that.
Definitely.
And the state of New York also has a child tax
Correct.
credit. Theirs is weird. It's for kids between the ages of
4 and 16.
4 and 16. So, but they must like you better when you're 4 in New York State. But again, that's a refundable credit. Refundable credits means they give you the money even though you didn't pay it in.
Correct.
All right, another big credit is the adoption credit. It's an interesting thing. A lot of ministers locally have been adopting children, and even if you don't pay for the adoption, if it's a special needs adoption, like a sibling group or a minority child, the credit you get is $13,400. Now, it's not a deduction; it's a credit.
Right.
That means it wipes out your liability up to $13,400, and if you can't use it all in 1 year, it carries forward.
Carries forward 5 years.
And that's per child.
Yep.
So if you had 2 children, it would be like a $28,000 credit. Okay, the other thing is the child independent care credit, and that would be for children that are have a daycare.
Yep,
right?
Kids who are in daycare. Right.
In order for you to work.
Yes,
So you have
work,
to be
go to
working.
school, or are disabled.
And we talked a couple weeks ago about how important it is, if you are working, to utilize the cafeteria plan for the daycare and have it come out pre-tax out of your paycheck, because that's a bigger bang for your buck.
But more importantly is, if you do that, make sure you do the 2441.
That's exactly
because
right.
if you don't do it, the IRS is going to tax you on that
That's
$5,000.
exactly right. And so when you use the cafeteria plan and you put the $5,000 for daycare, which comes out pre-tax, you not only it's pre-tax, but you also save the FICA.
Correct.
So that's $650 right there,
Yep.
right? Earned income credit. And you can get the earned income credit as long as you have wages or self-employment income. You're under the age of 65 without children, or if you have children that live in your home and you have income from wages. And really, 3 children, $52,000, I think, is the cutout off this year, where you can get the earned income credit. And again, they give you the money back that you didn't pay in.
Right. That's one of those Energizer bunnies credits that my wife talks about, that they just keep giving and giving and giving.
Right. And the refunds keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yep.
And then there is an earned income credit on the federal and New York State. So that's a gigantic amount of money. The other thing is the education credits, and those are things that are are so sad because nobody really understands it. It comes in the kid's name.
Right. The 1098T.
But the kid really shouldn't be taking the credit in most situations.
Right. Because if you look at page 2 of the box, it says that if you're under age 24 and you can be claimed by somebody else, you check this box, and that means goodbye $1,000.
Right. That's right. So, and there's the American Opportunity Tax Credit, which has a refundable feature, and lifetime learning credit. So if your kids are in graduate school,
Or you are.
or you're in graduate school,
Yep.
Exactly right, or you're in
First 4 years. Yep.
I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady. 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on the cell phone. We're going to break for news. We'll see you on the other side. Oh, I like that. All right, so I never know who you're playing, Tyler. Who is it?
That is The Who.
That's the Who?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Okay, I was going to say
who would
it
the Who
sounded
be?
like something I should know from
was-
the 70s, but
that was
I
very
wasn't
good.
sure because now a
People
lot
say
of
to me,
times.
it's so nice that young man throws you some nice Sinatra songs.
Hint, hint, wink, wink. No.
Anyway, I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady, and kiddies, we only got 8 days till it's over, and we want to help you. So if you owe money, you're getting letters, you wonder what the heck to do, wonder if just because you did your return, if you shouldn't be concerned. I mean, if there's something you hear here, we want to help you. right?
Definitely.
All right, before we get to the phones, we wanted to go over some more of the credits. Foreign tax credit. There is a lot of foreign tax credits. If you're somebody that's as investments, with a lot of these mutual funds, you're paying taxes to foreign countries, and you get a credit on the 1116. If you leave it off, you overpaid your taxes.
It may be $20, but $20 in your pocket's better
Right,
than.
but I did one yesterday. It was almost $500.
Yeah.
You know, so foreign tax credit. There's also a credit for residential energy credit for new doors, windows, furnace, hot water tank, insulation,
And solar and
the solar roofs, power things on the roof, whatever the heck.
The
they are.
solar panels that
Thank
people
you.
put on their
and
roofs.
the geothermal stuff.
Right. And,
which saves you a lot of money.
if you are considering the solar, just remember it's what you actually pay for it. It's not what they say the gross cost is, because then NYSERDA or someone gives you a huge rebate check, so you really end up paying.
So it's what you really paid.
Yep.
And then the retirement savers contribution credit, which goes kind of hand in hand with when you're creating an IRA deduction. Many of these people that create the IRA end up with the pension savers credit. So you put $1,000 in your IRA, and you might save $500 in pension savers credit. Now it's $1,500 by putting $1,000 away. It's just too unbelievable. And all right, we wanted to talk about people that take money out of their Roths.
Right. I mean, one of the main stipulation is that it has to be in for 5 years. But they
one
don't,
of the main
yeah,
stipulations.
but they don't read the second part of the law. There's 3 things that one of the 3 have to coincide with it. First one being you're over 59 and a half.
You have to be what?
59 and a half.
If you're not 59 and a half, then what happens?
You get hit with tax on the growth and
penalty
penalty on the growth.
Right, and so that's the key. So if you're 50 and you took $10,000 out of your Roth, that would mean even if you had it in there for 5 years, the growth on the Roth is still not taxed, and it will be taxed with penalty.
Right.
So you have to know your cost basis on the Roth.
Yep, you have to keep track of it. You do the little worksheet, keep a worksheet handy, a notebook, whatever, in your computer.
I know a lot of people say, I don't understand what you say by cost basis. It means, what did you put into the Roth? If you started your Roth with $1,000 and now it's worth $5,000, that means that $4,000 of it wasn't taxed. And
Yep.
so if you take the whole $5,000 out and you're 50 years old, even though you had it in there for 5 years, $4,000 of it's going to be taxed, plus a 10% penalty.
Yep.
And that's how the Roth works. Okay, let's go back to the phones. Again, 8030930, 8030930, star 930 on a cell phone. Out of town, our phone number is 1-800-616-9230. We'd like to hear from you wherever you're calling from, and we're going to go to Gary in NT. Hey, Mr. Gary, how can we help you?
Oh, thanks for taking my call. I think I screwed up. I mean, this year, with my wife and I both being retired and our only income, the Social Security and a pension, I qualified to have it done for free. I always used to do it, and I did it by hand. I went over to the library, the IRS people, and they did it. And I assumed the last 3 years, because I'm 68 and I've collected my Social Security, was just an automatic 85% of my Social Security that's taxed. I didn't go to the worksheet.
Mm-hmm.
And
So did you amend them?
Pardon me?
Have you amended them?
No. So my question is, how far back can I go?
12. 12 is ending on the 15th, so you want to fix 12 right away, then 13, 14, and you fixed 15. So make sure you get that money back.
So it's not an automatic 85%.
No.
It's 50%. Actually, how much is your pension, Gary?
My pension is $1,400.
A month.
Yes.
14,
All right, 8, 2,
16,
4.
8.
All right, so 16.8. And how much is your collective Social Security?
$1,450.
Between each one of you? You and your
yeah,
wife?
Both of us. Our adjusted gross income is $58,000.
No, but that's because you did it wrong. Don't give me your adjusted gross
this
income.
this year done right.
Oh, okay.
But but the previous years, my wife had worked, and our income was over $100,000.
Oh, well, then
so
it
then
would have
it
been
would be
85%.
It would have been.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Here's the formula. All taxable income and non-taxable interest added together, okay, plus half of your Social Security, all right? If that figure exceeds $32,000 and you're filing jointly, then the excess starts off at 50% would be taxable. Half of the 50% over the 32 would be taxable. And as you start moving up, it starts growing bigger and bigger until you reach 85%. So when your wife was making, when you and your wife are making $100,000, it would have been at 85.
Okay, and what figure is that? That 85.
85% of the Social Security.
Is it about 80,000, 90,000?
No, it's 85% of your Social Security. So if you
But
and your
when
wife got 20,000, if you got 20,000, then 85% would have been about 16,500.
Oh, okay. So, okay. I was thinking, geez, I got money coming back, but I don't. But
Well, so when did she retire, Gary?
she retired the year before last.
Okay, so that's 2013.
Right. I could probably take a look at that.
Boy, so what did she make in 13?
She made about 10,000.
Okay. And how much is your pension? Oh, you said it was 16
between the two of us, the pensions are close to $3,000
a month.
Yeah.
So 3,600, 36,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so 36, and then your Social Security. She's on Social Security now, right?
Yes.
So you guys have maybe 24,000 in Social Security.
We actually both get like 18 apiece.
Okay, less than 18 apiece.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
so
So
yeah, so what you have to do is take your total taxable, add it, take your Social Security, add it together, and subtract it from 32 until and see what the excess is. If it and then half of the excess is going to be taxable, and that's and then. As you start moving away from that, 85% of it could be taxable, but I don't think you're near. You'd be at a phase-in. So I guess the best thing to do, Gary, is if you want, you can email me at go to egtax@hotmail.com and give me all the figures, and I'll let you know what it should have been.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. I'm Esther Gulius, the tax lady from EG Tax. I think that's one of the biggest problems is people don't understand when you can start collecting, what do you have to pay back, how much can you earn, when is it taxable, how does it happen. Sometimes when I'm doing a tax return and I'll show a client, now see, this is the taxable Social Security. Now watch what happened when you had gambling income. Boom, you got an extra $4,000 in taxable. You didn't get any more money. You just got you just got charged an extra $4,000. So that's why you have to be really careful when you're a senior on Social Security, because you don't want to have to pay taxes on that. Right?
Definitely.
All right, let's see. We got Linda. Linda from Hamburg. Hey, Linda, how can we help you?
Hello. Thank you for taking my call. My dad passed away in November, and my husband was named executrix in the will. Do we have to go to a lawyer to file income tax on that? I don't know the steps.
Okay, so when you're alive, you do a 1040 form. When you pass away, all of the income that your assets make after your death go on a 1041.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the question is, does Dad have any assets making income?
Yes, but I'm on it with him, some CDs.
Okay, so you are automatically inherited his seedings.
Correct.
So
the bank should have switched it just to your.
So is there anything at all that Dad's money is making money on?
No, other than the CDs,
okay, but
that's
the
bank accounts,
Okay, but you're on all those, correct?
There were no IRAs that the estate cashed in.
No, IRAs, no. He already cashed those in, plus life insurance policy.
All right, so the question is, if you were the beneficiary, or the joint owner on the bank account, and now those are yours, there's no money that your dad's accounts are making because they're now yours.
Correct.
Is there anything else that Dad had that's making money?
No.
Then you don't have to do a fiduciary return.
We don't.
Not if there's no income.
But if it's a CD or a bank account,
but I thought you said it was yours.
Then it's mine. Do I have to?
No, you get the money at no charge if it's just a bank account.
A bank account or a CD?
Well, did the CDs come due?
Yeah, they came due. Yes.
After Dad passed?
Yes.
Then it should go on your return as the interest earned because it should automatically been flipped to you.
Right.
Oh, okay. So the interest,
but only the interest, Linda, nothing else.
Not the interest on the bank accounts.
Just the interest on the bank accounts, not the principal.
Just the interest.
Not the principal.
Not the principal. Do we have to go to a lawyer for? No, I don't have to go to a lawyer.
No, it goes on yours.
Yeah.
It just goes. So we don't need a lawyer to file Dad's income tax. We
If
just have
Dad
to
had to
No,
do
no.
a final
1041
return,
form.
Did Dad have to do a final return? Have you done Dad's final return?
No, we haven't.
Okay, so you're going to do a final return for Dad, and then
What is that? A final return? The
it's the
1041.
1040,
just the regular 1040.
Right.
and that's it.
And that's it. So no lawyer.
No lawyer.
Now, I will tell you, I'll never tell you not to go to a lawyer. If you
the
think
other
you
thing
need
is-
a lawyer, then you should always go to a lawyer. But it sounds to me like it's pretty clear cut. You're just going to do Dad's tax return with the Social Security and pension and any interest that he earned prior to his death,
On
and then
1040,
after
and then?
on a 1040.
Yeah.
And then after that, all the interest that you earned because it was in your Social Security number goes on your tax return, and all of the money, because you were already a beneficiary, is going to be tax-free. That's what it
see.
sounds like, but if you're concerned at all, you should check with your local lawyer.
Now I got one other question. Oh, you'll die when
I got
tell
a break for a minute. Will you hang on for a second, Linda?
Sure.
Thank you, dear. I'm Esther Goliath, the tax lady from EG Tax, 8030930, 8030930. We'll see you on the other side.
Come fly with me, let's fly away.
Hey, I understand this kind of music.
If you can use
Isn't that
some
nice?
exotic booze, there's a bar
In Old Bombay. See, now I like that. I know all those words. I love them. You know, and really, they're a whole generation in front of me. My dad used to love this kind of music, and that's all that was on our house was that. And now that I'm older, I really enjoy it because I can understand what it's saying. Anyway,
And
Tyler's going, yeah, okay, maybe one day
Music
I'll
used to be
Not that I don't
multi-generational, not so much nowadays.
Not that I don't like music from like you young'uns, but I don't know who the Google whatevers are. Anyway, I'm Esther Goliath, the tax lady. We got 8 days. We want to help you, and we're going to go back to the phones, and we're going to talk to Linda, who's got a conundrum over her dad's estate. So here's the thing, Linda.
Uh-huh.
You know, you should never do anything based upon what I'm telling you over the phone because I don't see your forms.
Right.
I don't know if there really was anything that you inherited that needs to go to an attorney. But I will tell you, we have an office right there in Hamburg or at the McKinley Mall. They're open tomorrow. You can you can schlep on over there and show it to them, and they'll let you know if you're just good filing a return for Dad and what needs to go on your return. Then you'll be sure. Otherwise, you should have your attorney look at it.
Okay. I have another question. Now, this is something we didn't do. My mother died about 3 or 4 years prior, and we did not settle her estate. But her whole estate and anything went to my
Your
dad.
dad, right?
What will happen to us? Will we have to pay penalties or?
No.
She wasn't worth over $5 million.
No, not at all.
Yeah, you're not going to have any problems at all.
Oh, and for that we have to go to a lawyer too, basically.
It really, if I were you, I would call an attorney. Jeffrey Katz, Dennis Kitchen are both sponsors here. They're wonderful people. They'll answer your question over the phone.
I see.
Okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Linda.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. All right, let's go to Mr. Paul. Hey, Paul, how can we help you?
Yes.
How are you?
I filed my taxes electronically, and then I got a rejection code, 181, and I looked it up. It said I need IP PIN. I go to the IRS website. It says they suspended giving out IP PIN. So I figured I'd just mail it, but then I looked at New York.
So you were a victim of identity theft.
No.
Yeah, you were.
That's why they want a PIN.
That's why your return rejected, because
Well,
somebody
I've never-
already filed a tax return using your Social Security number and your
Really?
information. Yeah.
I guess my LifeLock membership doesn't work.
Yeah. So if you want help with that, you want to call our office at 632-7886. Ask for George. He's our electronics guy. He knows the forms like the back of his hand, and he can tell you what to do, okay?
Yeah, because pretty much if this is a recent event,
There's a 14731 or
right,
something
and
like
you
that.
fill that out, and then starting next year, the IRS starts sending you pins. ID pins that go with your tax return that shows that this is your unique number, so you can file electronically. It's interesting. I just read an article the other day that says that the Internal Revenue was thinking about maybe holding up all refunds until the end of the year. Because now think about this. That's the only way they can be sure which returns are actually the right ones. You know?
Yep.
I mean, that would be interesting, which is a really good reason to change your W-4. But anyway, Paul, if you need help, call our office at 632-7886 and ask for George, and he'll help you, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that's why they're rejecting is because of identity theft.
Yep.
But think about this: identity theft is becoming a bigger and bigger problem. And the IRS is getting more and more sophisticated with, like for instance, one of my clients had identity theft, and they're 80 years old. Okay, the guy, whoever it was, I'm going to say guy, that stole their identity, did a tax return that said that he got an earned income credit, an AOTC, American Opportunity Tax Credit, and refundable child tax credit. So the guy, it was like a $14,000 refund that they got. Well, but when the people are 80, they aren't going to have babies, and they're not. And so what they're using now is more sophisticated ways of looking at who it is that's submitting this stuff to find out gee, this looks suspicious. Maybe we shouldn't be putting it out there.
Right.
Because it really is a problem.
Definitely.
It really is a problem. And there's really almost nothing that you can do because you don't even know where they're getting these things from. And like you said, maybe it's a LifeLock membership, but I bet you LifeLock doesn't even know yet because that's something.
And LifeLock may not know about tax returns.
Right,
so
that's exactly right. So anyway, but during the year, looking at this with the problem that they're having with identity theft, if you're somebody that gets a great big refund year after year after year because you're having a lot withheld, you might just want to rethink that position because you wouldn't want it next year to have the taxing agencies like they were doing this in many of the states. They were not sending out refunds because there was so much identity theft. You might want to change your W-4 so that so much of it is not coming and being sent off to them so that you get it to live off of so that there's no money for them to hold up next year.
Yeah, they may wait till September or October before they issue. So
it's true, and as it gets to be a bigger and bigger problem, you just never know. Anyway, I'm Esther Gulias, the tax lady from EG Tax. If you haven't filed, this is the last full week to file your tax return. The 18th is the deadline, state and federal. If you can't pay, we will help you to set up payment programs. But the important thing is to get that return timely filed so you don't have to pay up to a 25% failure to file penalty. And we're going to go back to the phones and talk to Helen. Hi, Helen. How can we help you?
Hi, Esther. I spent $8,500 on dental work. I had to have all my teeth removed and get dentures. Is that tax deductible?
It's potentially tax deductible. Are you an itemizer?
Yes.
Okay, so how much is your income approximately?
50.
50. All right, so there's going to be a 10%.
Well, how old are you?
Yeah.
65.
Okay, so 7.5% floor against your 8,500. But to that, you're going to add your copays, any insurances that you pay out of pocket, your mileage for seeking medical attention,
your drugs,
everything. And and then they're going to reduce that by 7.5% of your adjusted gross income. And then starting next year, it's 10%.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome, Helen. I'm Esther Gulias, the tax lady. If you haven't gotten started yet, I'm going to tell you tomorrow is a great day to do it. Look at all your stuff. Don't just put everything in a big pile and wait till the 18th to do it because you won't have time to do a good job. If you're somebody that has qualified dividends and you're an investor, why should they use the worksheet, Chris?
The reduced tax rate, maybe?
That's right. If you don't use the worksheet when you're computing your tax liability, you are overpaying your taxes. And now you can overpay by thousands of dollars.
Oh my! Depending on how much. Yep.
Because if you're in the 15% bracket or less, you should pay 0%. And the only way on capital gains and qualified dividends, and the only way to do it is to use the worksheet on the Schedule D.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Oh, and then the other thing is, and it's important, those codes, A, B, D, and E, and X, right?
On the Schedule D.
And if your broker has sent you cost basis, and you look at one, and all of a sudden it looks like you sold $28,000 worth of ABC stock, for instance, with no cost basis, unless somebody gave it to you, your cost basis is wrong. You're going to end up paying taxes on that you shouldn't. So you want to make sure that you spend the time to ask your broker, gee, what did I pay for
Go
this?
through those forms, see if something doesn't look right, and call and ask.
That's right. Just don't put it on your tax return because it was on the sheet that was sent to the Internal Revenue Service. Okay, last thing on tax planning. Change your withholding so that so much doesn't go to the federal government. God knows what's going to happen with the identity theft. If you have children turning 17,
then be prepared and change your withholding to make up that $1,000 difference you're going to lose.
$1,000 for children,
and $330 on the state.
Right. Changing jobs. Make sure that you change your W-4 at work. That make sure that they're withholding properly, because at the end of the year, when next year you're filing your return and say, well, I thought they did it right.
You get divorced and you used to claim married in 3 because you had your wife and the 2 kids. Now you're by yourself. You got to change it to single or you're going to be in big trouble.
And unemployment, if you're somebody on unemployment, make sure you take out the taxes, state and federal. Self-employment. If you have a bottom line, you're going to pay 15.3% on FICA plus income tax. Think about doing quarterlies. If you need help with that, we can help you. Retiring, Social Security, getting married or divorced, EG Tax will help you, and will help you all during the week. Give us a call at EG Tax. Go to our website at egtax.com. Have a great week. I love you. Esther Gulia signing off. Bye-bye.